Hi everyone, this is meowmurai. Excuse me. Let's check out Death Becomes You running on PlayStation 5. Now this game's also available. Well, it's actually available on all platforms, I believe. Maybe not on the Xbox, but it's available on Switch, Steam, and PlayStation 4 and 5. Oh, excuse me. Alright, looks like this is probably Renpai. Has a very Renpai look to it. But that's okay. I mean, you know, it doesn't need to be a fancy engine for a visual novel. Let's check it out. No matter what happens, this will be the end of us. With those words stuck in my head, I bounce between really wanting to see Lyra, or is it Lyra? Yeah, we'll say Lyra, and being stubborn. She was right to be mad. I know this, but how do I break the silence that's lasted a whole week? A silence that's created a guilt so strong that each time I close my eyes, I see how hurt she was. I miss her. But all I did was ask a simple question about a silly rumor. Why has it become so complicated? I'm forcefully connected to the hive mind, and I blink back the strange sensation. Even though I've used the campus hive mind message system countless times, I'm still not used to the tingle that creeps over my eyes. A message flashes across the back of my eyelids. Mentor reassignment approved. Further details will be provided as soon as they are finalized. Have a nice day! And then I'm out again. Cut off from the campus hive mind with a new message stuck in my head like a bad song. I shoot up from my bed, my eyes sting mercilessly, and not just from the hive mind ping. I can't believe she went through it. She's getting rid of me? I can't believe she went through with it. She's getting rid of me? Lyra has been my mentor since I began at the academy. We had a little argument, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't irredeemable. We're still friends, aren't we? Suddenly, my stubbornness is a lot easier to tame. My eyes flutter, spelling out my thoughts. A sharp pain connects me to her, and it goes off. And off it goes. What's my name? Sydney. Sure. I'm sorry, can we talk, please, Sydney? I wish the message didn't sound so desperate, but honestly, I am. She's my friend. That's why I asked about the rumors. It's because I don't want to believe them. But she had laughed at me in response. Then she got quiet. I'd never seen Lyra so tense before. She floats around the campus with a smile on her face, and people flock to be her friend, the way that I did. The way I was. I was proud to be her friend. I still am. I am grateful that she chose to guide me through what could have been a really rough first year. Lyra always said that unless your mentor is willing to devote every waking moment to you, you'll never survive the first year. Lyra is that kind of mentor, so dedicated to me that it was hard not to become as close as we did. She is the force I need to keep going on the worst days. Okay, let's talk. My heart bucks and hope spurs me forward. I tug my shoes on and stumble out the door. I don't realize how late it is until the cold air smacks me in the face. Maybe I should get a jacket, but I want to see Lyra. I run towards the quiet side of campus where the mentors live. I want to sort this out and to be her mentee again. I want to hear her voice. Ha 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 ha. Hmm? Voices? I look around, but it's so late, not even a stray is out. I definitely heard something. Hmm? I walk closer to where the sounds are coming from. You've got to be kidding me. Is this all you wanted to say? Lyra, it's her voice. I start running again before I can think about it. You were quick, I'll give you that, but not quick enough. She's coming to get you. Lyra's voice cuts through the silence from the balcony above. Her melodic laughter sounds different than usual to me, but I know it's her. There's no doubt that it's her voice. There's a bite to it I've never heard before, but there'll be a reason for it, like there's a reason for the rumors. We can talk, and I'll know there'll be a reason. People are just jealous of her. We can definitely sort things out. From behind me, a thud, a crack, a hollow squelch. My heart lurches into the wallows of my stomach. I'm close to panicking before I even turn around, imagining the worst, hoping for the best, seeing the worst. Lyra? Her bones jut out of her flesh at unnatural angles. Blood. Why is there so much blood? Oh, they're going the pink blood route, huh? Little Danganronpa world, huh? The pool of red seeps outward, as if making its way towards me. I force myself to step forward, to get closer to her. Get up! Please, get up, Lyra! I can't get any closer. No matter how much I want to be there for her, for Lyra, I can't. Lyra! Get away from her! I'm sorry, The student drags me back by my shirt collar, holding me there as she inspects every inch of me. Miss Daniela, What did you just say? Sorry? I nod. Her gaze sucks coherent thought out of me. I don't even know what I'm sorry for, but I am. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Tears drip down my face. I want to tell Lyra that I'm sorry. I want her to know how I feel. If I say it enough times, will that make all this go away? Save your sorries for someone who can use them. She lets go of me like she'd touched something dirty. I flinch away from her, my numb body stumbling back. I scuttle backwards, my hands slipping in blood. I scream. The sound pierces my throat until I am out of breath. A hand, unfazed by the shrieks my fingers paint on her sleeve cuff, helps me up. What happened here, Sydney? You know me? Yes, I know you. You're Lyra's mentee. You don't know me, I suppose. The panic ebbs and flows each time I blink. I don't know what spell she's using, if she's casting magic at all, but I want to feel calm, so I stare deeply into her glowing green eyes. I'm Apolline. Lyra might have mentioned me. Maybe not a lot, but enough that my name rings a bell. No, she never did. I'm sorry. No, don't be. That does sound like Lyra. She laughs, but no joy glitters in her green eyes. As calm as I feel now, this person is manipulating me with some enchantment. I shouldn't be this calm. Not while Lyra is over there. I pull away from Apolline, and the panic hits me again. She was doing something to me. This is why Lyra never mentioned Apolline. Lyra would never let someone control me like that. Not when I'm only a first year and can't defend myself. Did I offend you? No. Yes, Two students run towards the scene, hand in hand. When they catch my eye, they stop suddenly. Who are they? Oh dear, and I thought 3 was a crowd. The purple-haired student glares at me, stands before the blonde as if shielding her. We came as soon as we heard. The screams. We heard screams. Is she alive? No, Sydney made sure of that. Me? Daniela's eyes never met mine, but she cuts everyone else down with a glare. The blonde shrinks behind the purple-haired student, and Apolline shuffles away from me. You found her. Was that only a coincidence? Yes, How did you do it? Daniela, what are you... You heard her. She keeps saying she's sorry. What are you sorry about? I didn't do this. Why would you apologize for something you didn't do? You can't do this, Daniela. This is murder. I didn't do this. Why should we believe you? My head snaps to the sour-faced student who won't even look at me. Her eyes never leave Daniela's. I'm her friend. I'd never do this to her. I look to the one person who might have my back, but Apolline is also looking to Daniela. My last hope dies. Maybe. It's a little suspicious. Please, I didn't do anything. Please believe me. Let's hope the authorities believe you. No, we can't. Sophie, we can't. Do we have any other choice, Alice? Sophie, ignore her. It's not your choice to make, Alice. Apolline, call the administrators. They can sort this out. Apolline looks at me with a weak smile. If you're innocent, Sydney, then it'll be fine. They'll find out what really happened. I want to agree, but what if they come to the same conclusion? What if they take the easiest course of action and blame me for it? No. No, but why worry if you're innocent? They all stare at me. I am, but I'm alone. None of these people will help me. None of these people will go out on a limb for me the way My eyes catch Lyra's knee, wretched back at an unnatural angle. She's the only person I have. I didn't do this, but I'm scared. I feel a small hand touch mine. Alice, the blonde-haired student, holds my hand and smiles at me with all the radiance of a spring morning. We'll help you, Sydney. Why does everybody look cross-eyed? It's a very strange artist. I don't believe that, but who else can I trust now? That smile might only be to sweeten the lies. We won't let anything bad happen to you. Then it's decided. Sophie, come with me. We need to move Lyra before this becomes bigger than us. What about us? Didn't you just promise to take care of Sydney? You and Apolline can see that she gets back to her dorm safely. Why are they moving the body? Why are they trying to cover all this stuff up? This is like all the wrong things that you're that you're doing. As we walk away, I take one last look at Lyra. Daniela turns Lyra's face away from me, revealing the hole in the back of her skull. Sophie presses her hand against it. What are they doing to her? Neither of them flinch as they lift, blood dripping and broken limbs dragging along behind them. My gut grips onto my supper, and I hope it stays there. As I walk away with Alice and Apolline, I hate the relief I feel knowing I'm away from Lyra's corpse. I was dying to see Lyra, but now that she's dead, I can't wait to get away. Wait, no transition, point. Hey, I'm Alice, but you probably already caught that. Teehee. I know she's trying to make me feel better, so I go along with it, hoping any talking is better than this guilt. I'm Sydney. I'm glad it's harder to think about Lyra while I'm talking to Alice, because I'll scream again if I do. Nice to meet you, Sydney. I force a smile as bright as Alice's while Lyra bleeds. Nice to meet you, too. And you've already met Apolline. She's a mentor for elemental magic. Lucky for her, that's my major, so she gets to see me all the time. I would if you ever showed up to lectures. Guilty? Alice and Apolline both seem like the type that smile a lot, which is almost infectious, but it's not enough for me to shake the gloom that's gripping me. You're a first year, right, Sydney? You'll be picking a major soon. You got any ideas what it'll be? No, it's a big decision. The biggest? Having a mentor makes it easier to choose. It would be if they weren't such egoists. Not you, Apolline. You're wonderful. Thank you, Alice. My mentor wasn't like that either. Oh? Who's your mentor? Lyra. Or it used to be. Oh. She had me reassigned, so technically she's not my mentor anymore. That sounds a lot like her. That's the second time Apolline has said how something sounds like what Lyra would do. Is she rubbing in how well she knew Lyra? That's not true. Well, she usually doesn't last a semester with a mentee. She must have liked you. It's like I said, we were friends. Can I really sound so smug about it when she dropped me too? Apolline's watching me, and I get the feeling she's thinking the same thing. Friends, huh? Lyra having friends seemed odd. There's nothing odd about it. We'd still be friends now if I didn't ask her stupid questions about stupid rumors. She might even be alive now if I had kept my big mouth shut. I wasn't a good friend. I should have believed her, no questions asked. If I had, she might... Tears choked me and I shut up. I brought back the elephant in the room. I need to stop being such a coward. You don't need to do that to be a good friend, Sydney. Do what? Blame yourself. It's as useful as punching yourself in the face. It just hurts. I laugh a little weakly and just as quickly stop. I scrub away the tears with my sleeve. I can't think like that. It is my fault. The truth is, Lyra does what she wants to do and has a talent for making you think you had some sort of control over it. You shouldn't take on more than your fair share of responsibility. Some people don't need a reason to make a bad choice, and letting you go is one of Lyra's bad choices. Maybe it was a good choice, for you at least. I'd put it another way. Lyra doesn't make good choices, but rash ones. Unless Daniela is there to hold her hand, she's just a chaotic whirl of desires and passions. I don't think letting me go is one of them, though. I hurt her. Shut up, Sydney, before you say something you regret. There was a rumor about her hurting one of her old mentees. It isn't true, right? She was taking magic from them without them knowing. I should stop talking. Why would these people be honest if Lyra couldn't be? I know it's not true. Lyra wouldn't. I was just... You were concerned, as you should be when you hear something nasty like that. It was a good thing you asked her about it, Sydney. When there's smoke, Or when there's smoke, there's fire and all that. But Sydney doesn't need to dwell on these things. It's over now. Applene's eyes look so empty and my gut twists. She's telling the truth. She's never lied once, but that's what worries me. She's too clever to be telling the whole truth. We first come to the second-year dormitory. Alice hovers by the door, taking in a deep breath. I do want to make sure you're all right, Sydney. Tonight was intense, so if you ever need a friend, my dorm room is 686. You should come and talk about whatever whenever you want, okay? I'd like that, Alice. Thank you. Alice pulls me into a hug. She smells like daisies and lavender. She moves her face so the heat of her mouth is against the crook of my neck. I hate to know what I smell like after all this. Don't worry about Lyra, Sydney. She whispers into my skin, quietly enough to keep Appeline from hearing. She did it to herself. Alice pulls away, giving me a quick peck on the cheek before disappearing into the dormitory. I scrubbed the spot on my cheek that Alice had touched. I can't let her talk about Lyra like that. She knew what she was doing, being nice to me to cloud my judgment, but her sweet exterior must be hiding something sinister. Too much sugar is sickly. Appeline and I continue on to the first year's dorm in silence. Appeline watches me and doesn't hide it. She even boldly catches my eye when I look back at her. Did you hear what Alice said back there? I shiver at the thought. I would never have remotely considered what Alice had said. Lyra and I were about to talk it out and go back to being friends. Why would Lyra do that to herself? Don't go there. Don't, Dor. I sniff back the tears, trying to hold it together. I can't start crying. Not now. Not until I get back to my own room. I don't believe that Lyra would have done something like that. Why would she invite me to meet up if she was planning to? Unless she wanted me to see it, she wanted me to know it was my fault. No, she didn't. Alice was lying. That makes more sense than Lyra. Lyra. Sydney? I walk faster. The dorm is in view. I need to get there before I can deal with these thoughts. It's all my fault. The thoughts don't stop no matter how much I want them to. Maybe she did this to herself and she wanted me to know it. What kind of friend would do that? My thoughts keep cycling, passing through the same points each time. Sydney? Lyra wasn't like that. She wouldn't do that to me. Alice, you liar. Sydney. I spin around and Appeline is holding out a tissue. I snatch it up and scrub the tears away. Alice was right. Tonight has been intense. Don't say words, Sydney. Talk and it'll come out. Just hold it together. I nod. It helps to rattle my brain enough, as if I could disrupt my cycling thoughts and help me not to cry. I was wondering, does the first year dorm still have that broken coffee machine on the third floor lounge? Yeah, I think so. Why? I want a coffee, of course. Appeline holds the lounge door open for me, and I guess that's her way of saying she's seeing me all the way here to my room, just like Miss Daniela asked. It doesn't work, you know. Ah, but we're magic, remember? I perk up a little, wondering what kind of spell you could use on a coffee machine. Then, thud thud thud. Appeline slams her palm against the machine, just like magic, but not quite, the coffee machine spits out a cup, filling it with sludgy brown liquid. Nothing like it. Appeline hands me the cup. After I cautious few sips, it's hard to disagree. 2 long gulps soothe the last knots of tension in my body. Appeline smiles expectantly at me, and I hand the cup back. It hits the spot after such a stressful night. A little too well. I promise I haven't done anything to it, Sydney. That's not what I meant. Saying that, now I'm a little worried. Appeline is a mentor, so her spells go way beyond my own. And Appeline has already proven she'd throw me under a bus if Daniela asked her to. What's to say she's not doing that now? All I can do is trust her, but nothing about this situation is reassuring. If you need to talk, Sydney, I'm here too. I guess you also want to be my friend? I snort. How gullible do these people think I am? If you want me to. Do you need another friend, Sydney? After what happened to my last friend, are you sure you'd want to do that? Maybe I'm a bad omen. I don't believe that's what happened, Sydney. Then why did you say that I seem suspicious back outside? We need to be careful. Even if I don't think it's you, we can't rule anyone out yet. That doesn't explain Miss Danielle's accusations. Danielle knows what she's doing, and I'm sure she agrees with me that we can't rule anyone out. She probably has a plan to get to the bottom of this. None of that felt like it. Shut up before you say too much. Every part of me wants to trust Apolline, but I know that's the coffee talking. There's no way I'd be so willing to bear so much of this to a stranger, no matter how nice her eyes are. It could be a spell. Maybe that's why I felt calmer after looking into her eyes back outside. Sydney, we all need someone we can trust. Please don't be afraid to trust me. Maybe. I tried to divert the conversation the way Lyra would keep things light and fun and stop us from talking about things that are too uncomfortable. You said Lyra talked about me all the time. If only I'd known to change the topic last time Lyra and I spoke, before it was too late. What did she say? She thought you were a very eager student, very agreeable and fun to be around. You said you were arguing? Did she say anything about it? I don't think so, but Lyra liked to keep a brave face. When you're special to so many people, you have to keep your image up. I don't think many people got to know her well because of that. She wasn't like that with me. I got to know her. She'll make you think that, but she knows how to adapt. Lyra knew she had to do that because whatever she was hiding is just too ugly a thing to forgive, no matter how special she is. I take the last swig of my coffee, trying to hide how uncomfortable her words have made me. I know Lyra like no one else does, even if Apolline thinks otherwise. I think we better call it a night, don't you? I nod. I promise to look out for you, Sydney, like a substitute mentor, though you probably won't need me very much. Lyra said you were strong, resilient even. Me? She said that about me? All the time. She never said that directly to me. We're all here for you, Sydney. Having Daniela as a mentor won't be anything like what people say it is. She's very attentive and will steer you down the right path. Wait, Miss Daniela is going to be my new mentor? Don't be a stranger, Sydney. My office door is always open if you need an ear or a tissue or coffee even. Apolline leaves. The beginning of a blustery night is silenced the moment the door closes on her. I'm alone again. Boy, this is pretty scattered storytelling at this point. I'm kind of wondering if it's like maybe a language barrier. Like maybe the English translation isn't quite working right. I mean, if these are native English speakers, I'd kind of wonder. I put the half-finished coffee on my desk and lay back on my bed, staring at the ceiling. Lyra, if only I hadn't doubted you. After what feels like hours, the tears finally slow down, but I can't seem to catch my breath. I smother my face with a pillow, hoping it'll do the same for my thoughts. Everything remains so loud. I'm sorry. I ruined everything. Why weren't you here? I promised to be better if you'd come back, Lyra. There's so many things I wanted to do together. Why did I waste the last few days we could have had together? And now they'll never come back. Then silence, as the panic burns all thoughts to a white-hot intensity and presses down on my chest. It crushes me until I'm breathless and I scream, sobbing pitiful tears into my pillow. I'm scared for my life, as scared as Lyra was when she fell. I'm crying all over again. I cry until I'm so tired my body shuts down and forces me to sleep. It's a dreamless sleep, haunted by Lyra. My only friend in this whole world, gone. Lyra, I'll make this right. There must be something I can do. 7 days later. A week has passed, yet I can't say it. I think about it in nicer terms, that Lyra's gone. She isn't here. I'm alone. I can say that I'm alone, but admitting that she's... I haven't gotten to that point, but I need to because I can't keep this up much longer. I hold myself away, waiting for someone else to notice and to serve justice because there's no way Lyra did this to herself. Whoever did it is still out there. I need to do something useful, but I don't know what. I've been searching the campus hive mind, logging in religiously over the last week, looking for anything about her. Nothing is different. Even though she's gone, nothing has changed. What should have changed? Everyone knew her and adored her and revered her, yet not a single person is talking about why she's not here. Turns out no one but me cares about her. They can't have cared about her the same way I did. They were all fake friends. Lyra knew this. They cared as much as their jealousy would let them, but my friendship was real. Lyra wouldn't let me hang out with her other friends because she wanted us to be closer than that. What if it'd been me? Lyra would care more. She'd do more about it. I think back to that night and the students that had been there. The way this person had acted was strange. Appeline, Daniela. I mean, they both acted strange. We'll say Daniela. I think that's the choice that they want us to make at first. Daniela said to notify the authorities. I wonder if any of them did. The way this person acted was strange. Sophie, Alice. Alice? I don't think Sophie said anything. What did Alice mean by "we'll help you" before they took the body away? Lyra would want to know who did this to me. I need to do that for her, too. Daniela and Alice seem suspicious to me. I need to find out which one of them did it. If I don't, when people notice she's gone, how long will it be until fingers start to point in my direction? Until Daniela convinces them it was me, just like she convinced the others. That's it. Miss Daniela is a lead. Whether it's her or not, I can talk to her before investigating Daniela and Alice even more. Daniela was the first to show up, and the first one to blame me. She touched the corpse like it was nothing, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's done something like this before. Perhaps I'm letting my instincts lead me, but they're the only thing I can go by right now. I'll get Miss Daniela to talk. I don't know how, but I'll figure it out. For Lyra's sake. I have to at least try. I get lost along the way to Daniela's office and have to backtrack along the hallways a few times. I never realized how little I came to the mentor's office wing, and the even fewer times I had come along without Lyra's chaperoning. Lyra liked to keep her mentorship personal. Offices felt like the opposite of that to her. I imagine someone like Daniela is the exact opposite. I'd never met her in person before last week, but you'd have to be stupid not to know her name and what she looks like. People prayed they didn't get her as a mentor. I'd lost touch with most of my cohort. I didn't need the distraction. But from what I could tell, Daniela mentee spoke of her with the cold distances of a quaking underling. After meeting her, I can see why. Her voice commands your attention, whether you want to submit or not. Everyone at the scene blamed me just because Daniela suggested it. When I come to her door, I have yet to master my nerve and knock with the kind of authority she will respect. I can't show my weakness. Lyra told me that much. With people like Daniela, you either stand tall or beg. I wait. Silence comes from the other side, but I checked her office hours and she should be here. I move to knock again, but the door suddenly opens. Office hours finished 3 minutes ago. Come back tomorrow. Daniela might be shorter than me, but her glare makes me feel even smaller. She looks at her watch with pursed lips before slowly shutting the door on me again. Wait! I push against the door and it gives way far easier than I'd thought. Daniela's face shows shock and then an embarrassed anger. I need to speak to you. You should have been punctual. Don't waste any more of my time. She pushes hard against the door, but it's becoming embarrassingly clear that she doesn't have the physical strength to best me. I want to know something about that night. Don't you know enough already? I want to know about her body. What did you do with it? Daniela releases her hold on the door. I assume that's the only invitation I'm going to get and walk in. Daniela waves away stacks of books back onto the shelf, clearing a chair for me to sit. On her desk is a strange bird. By the smell that clings to the room, it's been long dead. I run a hand along it, from the top of its downy head to the strangely smooth, glass-like spread of wings. Crystal taxidermy. It takes a lot of patience and time, both of which you are taking. It's beautiful. Daniela clicks her tongue. She seems to not like being ignored. You're a transmutation mentor, right? That's what my specialization is. Is this part of it? A small part. It's more of a hobby than anything else, than anything of use. She doesn't stop me, but she watches me like a bird of prey, ready to jump in should I do something wrong. This is not the corpse you want to discuss, Sydney. Can we get back on topic? I nod, pulling away, but there's something mesmerizing about the bird corpse's smooth transition from flesh and feathers to crystal. Lyra. A thought pops into my head and I feel instantly sick. I'd been admiring something that could so easily be Lyra. Please don't let your wild fantasies get the better of you, Sydney. Daniela snorts amusedly, catching onto my train of thought before I'd come to my own conclusion. My wide eyes and pale face must have given it away. I don't know what you did to Lyra. You could have done anything to her. I'm an idiot for letting that happen. You are right. I could have. Her snorting laugh breaks into a saccharine giggle that doesn't suit her. It sounds flirtatious until Danielle's hard expression reveals it as an accident. She takes the sculpture from the table and returns it to a row of birds and animals, all half petrified in crystal. Crystal taxidermy has always been seen as a jovial hobby, but recent studies have identified a particular use for it. These studies verge on the edge of less agreeable magic, however. My research has been halted for now, but it was not in vain. I try to interject, but she leaves no pause large enough, purposely pushing the conversation away from Lyra. Turning flesh to crystal allows you to see every fault in that being. With the appropriate cutting and alignment of the chevrons, bevels, and points, one can fragment the light perfectly and cause these features to glow anew. Like life itself still resides in them. I tell you this because if I had done this to Lyra, it would have been a sculpture nothing short of sublime. You thought about it? I yell, feeling sick. Obsessively. Imagine, Sydney. I could have preserved her body in a way that would accentuate every line of her physique. I could have perfected the destiny of the crystal to susurrate when I run my hand along her cheek. It would sound so much like her laugh, that constantly empty ring. Suddenly she reins in her demeanor from her increasingly unhinged rants. But I didn't. We dealt with her body respectfully. I hope that puts your mind at ease. It doesn't. Well, that sounds like your problem to solve. I have been honest with you. Too honest for my liking. When people try to tell you they're being honest, the irony of it is an insult. Daniela, more than anyone I've met before, makes me feel that irony because I don't know where the lie is. I want to know where she is. She is safe, Sydney. Daniela stands over me and I fear pushing for an answer will have no effect on her. Okay, I believe you. With that win, Daniela turns to her seat. With my loss, I stand to leave. Our conversation is not done. You will be my mentee starting tomorrow, and I believe we have things to discuss in that regard. I sit down once again, but want to leave now more than ever. I had been too smug just because I forced my way in, but Daniela has all the power here. You've been missing your lectures. Why? I thought the reason was obvious. Too obvious. Try and make it less obvious. Attend class, see your friends, and let your life go back to normal. You'll need to catch up on your studies, of course. Have your friends send you their notes. That will be a good enough start. You do have friends, don't you? I want to answer with my pride, but that would be little the memory of Lyra. Or Lyra. Lyra was my friend. Your only friend? My silence tells Daniela all she needs to know, and the hard line that her mouth softens. Why do I need other friends? Because now you're all alone, and you can't even leave your room. Maybe part of that was because of the circumstances, but Lyra has not made it easy for you to move on. I don't want to move on. I'll never forget Lyra. Forgetting is part of healing. Refocus your attention on things that grant life, not suck it out like a parasite. Lyra was not a parasite. I agree, but those who call her a friend are. Lyra becomes everything to you so easily, and you take from her more than you can ever hope to pay back. Isn't Daniela being oddly specific? Or is she just trying to get under my skin with accusations? We weren't like that. What did Lyra get from being close to you that no one else could give? I rack my brain, wanting there to be something significant enough to prove her wrong. I can't think of anything on the spot like this. You see, you're just like a parasite, Sydney. The moment Lyra plucks you off, your whole world shrivels into nothing. That's not productive, and you need to move beyond that existence. Making new friends will be a step in the right direction. Daniela's wordings sting, and I hate that I didn't lie that I had friends apart from Lyra. Was I really such a burden on Lyra? Lyra would have wanted me to lie and keep her memory dignified, not tainted with all these doubts. Sophie, do you remember her? The one with purple hair? What about her? Ask her for her old lecture notes. She has penmanship like no other and is always very thorough. I thinking about rejecting her offer, but seeing Sophie might prove to be more fruitful than continue to be humiliated by Daniela. Daniela zones out, the yellowish glow of entering the hive mind emitting from her eyes. The glow flickers from left to right as she spells out her thoughts. She shakes her head violently with a sharp click of her tongue. What a cheap trick, locking her mind at a time like this. Lock your mind? You can do that? Sophie is a special kind of student, though if you were to apply yourself as she does, I do not see why you would not be able to. I have things to do now. Find Sophie yourself. Danielle turns her chair from me, and I feel a tug at the back of my shirt, pulling me towards the door. The door slams shut on my face, and a deep thrum casts a protection spell across the whole thing. All this happens within seconds. If I had a second more, I could have pointed out one important fact I was missing. How do I know where Sophie even is? I decide to head towards the second-year dorms. Without any help from Daniela, the only lead I have to find Sophie is through that other student, Alice. I never thought I'd find any use for her dorm room. Maybe she can see the future. I knock on Alice's door, with little hope this will lead anywhere. It's the middle of the day, and most people are locked away in lecture halls and classrooms. I knew this would be a waste of time. Lyra was the only dependable thing about this place. She was always there when I needed her, and even before I needed her. I could trust her to steer me away from things that just weren't worth my time. Like this. This isn't worth my time. Sydney! Water drips from Alice's hair, and bare shoulders lean out of the doorway. She ushers me forward with a wave of her hand, and my stomach knots to imagine what I would see if I accidentally get too close. I was hoping you'd show up even... Alice lets out a kittenish yawn, retreating back out of view. Sorry about that. Come in. Does that sound supposed to be? I have no idea. Alice is caught in a twisted shape of shrugging her blazer on and yawning. Oh, yeah. Just say yawn. All the while, her hair is being blown dry by a magical gust of wind. Sorry, had a bit of a long night. It's hard to sleep these days. Because of Lyra? Because of Sophie, actually. Oh, I didn't know you two were just friends, Sydney. I can't even imagine. No, that would be so weird. Sophie's my best friend. I'd be scared to ruin that. I feel my face flush, my assumptions called out. If I'd been more careful with how I treated Lyra, I wouldn't even be here. She'd be crashing in my dorm, too. Being holed up inside wouldn't look so weird. I wouldn't have to fake being nice to the second year. I'm happy you finally took me up on my offer. I was telling Sophie about how we should get to know you better. Do you know where she is? Sophie? No, but I have a tracking spell for lost things. Would that be helpful? Alice searches under her pillow, her hand reaching in more deeply than it should. I step closer to see a small portal vortexing beneath her pillow. You've used a spell like this before, right? No, why should I? I would have thought... She trails off, leaning deeper into the vortex. I look away, seeing too much of what is underneath Alice's skirt. She probably knows. Lyra hated how I always gave people the benefit of the doubt, how I thought situations like these were probably an accident. I never realized how manipulative people could be until Lyra taught me all about it. Lyra would say that cute girls use the worst kind of tactics. They are laughably degrading to everyone in the room. Not that Alice would get anything out of charming me, though. I'm thinking too much. Obviously, these things would only happen to Lyra. Alice could be putting up a mask, so I don't suspect her of knowing anything about Lyra's murderer. Not there, huh? Alice rushes across the room to look in her several drawers full of herbs and spell ingredients. Thought. Thought of what? Alice looks around the room, biting her lip. Have you seen a green... Ah, I see it. She leaps up and, with the upthrust of wind magic, is propelled high enough to grab hold of a green sachet. My whole face reddens. The kind of magic should never be done when you're wearing a skirt. Got it. Just what Sydney ordered. Alice throws me a couple of satchels of green sand. I've never used elementals this way before, and I'm starting to see why Lyra didn't like this kind of magic. It looks so boringly simple, yet I have no idea how to use it. Magic that could undermine her expertise that much would never have sat well with Lyra. How do I use it? I see. You're trying to prove I'm not silly by pretending not to know. I'll play along then. Does she have to mock me like that? Why would I bother with herbal magic when I had such a great mentor like Lyra? When you think you're in the general vicinity, sprinkle some on the ground. It will lead you 100 steps in the direction of your lost thing. Is that it? Of course. You really don't know how to use it? Huh, that's so strange. I've never needed to before. Not even to find Lyra? She disappeared a lot from what I remember. Always somewhere where she shouldn't be. Never where you'd want her to be. Is that a rumor about her? I don't listen to rumors. Then why would you say that? She's probably lying and is one of the people who spread those awful rumors about Lyra in the first place. It's what Sophie always says. It's what Sophie always said, and she has enough proof. She'd disappear somewhere with Lyra for days and then show up and sleep for hours. I thought, since you're so close to Lyra, maybe you'd notice it too. She can't have been with Lyra. She was always me. I hated asking her to leave because she'd say you were trying to get rid of her? No. The moment I responded, my mind instinctively makes it a lie. Lyra did say that I was trying to get rid of her, but in a joking way. I never wanted her to feel that way, so I'd ask her to stay over to prove it. I was always trying to prove that I wanted to be her friend, but Alice doesn't need to know that. I can't quite lie, but I can't bring myself to tell the truth either. Not quite. You didn't say no, so Lyra did guilt you by saying you were trying to get rid of her after all. God. Sophie said the same thing. She disappears, but I'm the one trying to get rid of her. If I were really trying to get rid of her, I would have never made this spell in the first place. But I had to know who she was with for so long. It was always with Lyra. I'm sorry, you just wanted the silly spell, not all the extra baggage. Alice bags up a small portion of the green spell for me. She has the most strange looking smile on her face. Were you jealous? Before I can stop to consider how that must have sounded, the question slips out. For once, Alice stays silent, despite being so talkative. For some reason, even though her smile is still plastered on her face, I feel that she's fuming. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked. Don't be. I was talking a lot of rubbish. Sophie and I have been in a really good place this past week, too. It's almost like old times when we were beyond the wall. Alice giggles but chokes on how hard she is trying to force it. Students of the Academy refer to our time before the Academy as beyond the wall. Does this mean that Alice and Sophie knew each other even before the Academy? Sometimes things happen for the better, like this spell, for example. If I never made it to find Sophie, I would still be trapped in Wonderland. I'm always getting lost, and getting lost in Wonderland almost drove me mad. What do you mean? Sophie made me a special place to go and relax. She thought Wonderland was a cute way to refer to it. She created a place? Yeah, Sophie says it's like a whole new dimension. Alice pulls me towards the closet. From a distance, there seems to be nothing abnormal about it, not even the telltale glow of a spell brewing beyond. Inside the closet is a portal to a world as infinite as our own. I use it to go berry picking, press flowers, and sometimes to take long, nice naps where no one can disturb me. The weather is always beautiful. I guess being a Wonderland explorer is kind of like my hobby. It sounds like a really fun hobby. It was. I have to work up the courage to start doing it again really soon. There's still so much to explore in there after all. Even after being trapped inside for months, I haven't explored a fraction of it yet. I don't know how it works exactly, but Sophie has a lot of control. She can change the weather there just by willing it. As we near the closet, I hear a rattle and the whistle of wind coming from beneath the door, and I gasp. Alice smirks proudly at my reaction. How can Sophie sustain something so large? The amount of magic that would take is exceptional. Sophie is exceptional, and you shouldn't underestimate her, Sydney. There's nothing she can't do. Is this a threat? Why else would she tell me about this place if not to threaten me? Lyra always said to be suspicious of a smile, and Alice is grinning so wickedly. She's implying that I'll be locked away if I ever get on their bad side. Perhaps I need to be careful with my words around Alice from now on, and not ask more about Sophie and Lyra, even though I'm so curious. Would not knowing the details protect me from this twinge of jealousy within myself? But if Sophie and Lyra were close and Alice didn't like it, then maybe. I have a rising suspicion that Alice probably does have a motive to get rid of Lyra. I should probably get going. I still need to find Sophie and other things. Oh, okay. I thought you'd want to stay a little longer, but if you're going, do you mind doing me a little favor? I guess I don't mind. Do I have a choice? The closet door is still rattling, reminding me of how easily it would be to lock me away. This woman is the worst kind of person. I knew it. I get a good feeling from you, Sydney. You're a good person. I don't know if I can say that the same about her. Being with Alice makes me uncomfortable, and it's not just because of the creepy closet door. I don't have time to question her more on why she's being so nice to me when everyone else thinks I hurt Lyra, unless she knows exactly what happened. And if she had been jealous of Lyra, then... Alice walks away from the door, and suddenly it becomes still. While she's distracted, rooting through her drawers again, I try to open the door. The doorknob keeps spinning and nothing catches the mechanism inside. Magic doors don't work like normal doors. She whispers from behind me, and I jump right out of my skin. I spin on my heels, and she's not even left a hair between us. Her face is so close to mine as she tiptoes up to my height with that stupid smirk on her face. The key to unlocking them is an invitation. The key to keeping someone in... The key to keeping someone in them is a will. I'm too scared to ask what she means by a will, feeling the fire of embarrassment and dread simmer under my skin. Here, make sure Sophie gets this. Alice presses a vial into my hand and doesn't let go. An unpleasant concoction of chemicals and floral hints waft up from out of the bag. What is this? I want to pull my hand away, but Alice holds me tightly, and her big green eyes stare so joyfully into mine that I can't get my body to do the right thing. Sophie has been out since this morning in the study halls. Working her mind so hard really takes its toll after a while, so she'll be needing this soon. I know she doesn't need me worrying about her like this, because she's so amazing, you know. I do know. Lyra was the same. I'd worry about her if she didn't mind me, because she always did. Oh, wait. I do know. Lyra was the same. I'd worry about her if she didn't mind ping me, because she always did. I'd start to feel scared when she walked past me without saying a word, because it might have meant I did something wrong. Sophie's a real prodigy, but the amount of magic she uses is dangerous. I tried to tell her, but I'm just a silly herbalist. Alice's grip tightens in mine, clutching the vial of blue liquid so tightly I worry it will snap in her hands any moment. I'll never come close to Sophie's level, so anything she does seems scary to me. But this is different. Magic shouldn't put her in a trance for so long, and I'd wish she'd stop pushing her body so hard. Being put in a magical trance is dangerous, second-year student or not. So you do understand. I tried telling Sophie the same thing, but she said that if Lyra said it was okay, she doesn't see the harm. Lyra taught her that? Lyra taught Sophie all kinds of spells. I know Sophie can do it, but they were so advanced, the kind you could lose your mind to if they went wrong. Sophie shouldn't be doing them, but she doesn't listen to me. So, could you talk to her? Since you knew Lyra, maybe you could explain that she was wrong. If Lyra thought it was okay, then it's probably okay. I'm sure she had a reason for teaching Sophie those spells. How can you be so sure? Because Lyra takes really good care of those she mentors. If she thinks Sophie was able to handle those spells, then she is. You need to have more faith in your friend, like Lyra did. Like Lyra, huh? If you say so. Alice pulls her hands away and casts her eyes to the floor. I have to go. Sure, I'm sorry I kept you this long. Bye, Sydney. I'm glad to be out of there and on my way to finding Sophie. Okay, why don't we stop it there? This is meowmurai. You've been watching Death Becomes You, running on PlayStation 5. Yeah, I mean, the art is definitely weird. It's certainly nothing I'm used to, but at the same time, because of that, I think it's highly original. You know, it's kind of a bare-bones visual novel. I mean, it's not really doing anything super fantastic. There's not, like, a whole lot of animation going on or anything like that. You know, there's not a lot of art in here, but what is in here is, like I said, it's a little different, but I don't think it's bad. The characters definitely have a very stylized look to them as well. I think the weakest part of this game is, oddly enough, the script. Because the script does not make any sense. I mean, these conversations do not flow very well, and I think there's a lot of space in between where there should be more conversation or there should be more explanation. Like this seems like a bunch of note cards kind of shuffled in together. You know what I mean? Like there's stuff in there, but maybe not, in the right order, and maybe there's a card missing in between. So it seems like I'm missing some conversation here, and I think the author just needs to slow down a little bit and explain the world, the setting, and everything around us without just flashing forward and going as fast as they can. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this story goes and the endings that it has. I thought this would be closer to a mystery solving game, but so far it's just been a lot of weird conversations. I don't know if that's good or not. I said it feels like this is a game that was not by an English author, because it does seem so disjointed. But that being said, I don't hate it. So I think we'll play through at least a couple more times to see if we get a better feel for it, and maybe things will start falling into place the more we go along. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you with the next stream.